Welcome back for another week of our fantasy football vidcast here at the Daily Illini. My name's JJ.
And I'm Erik.
And this week joining us, we have junior men's tennis player, Jared Hiltzik. Thank you for joining us, man.
No problem.
Well, we'll start it off how we usually do and complain about fantasy football. So, I think my bench outscored my team this week, so that hurt. But other than that, I think everything went pretty well. My other league I won, and pretty good week other than a few bench mistakes, but can't really complain. My team looks like it's actually doing better with Tate back in the fold.
Yeah, I mean, things are looking up for me as well. I know in the league we're in together, I lost by 2, but I can't complain because my team put up 126 and I still lost. So that was just one of those tough luck things.
Yeah.
But the guys are finally starting to catch on and finally entering the midseason form, so I'm crossing my fingers.
Yeah. How about your teams? How they doing?
My team didn't do too bad this week. I didn't put up the most points, but I came out with a victory. My bench did almost outscore my starters, so I guess I'll take a good showing from the bench and also W.
Right. Yeah, it's always tough. Sometimes you just get those weeks.
Yeah.
And it'll always be like the one guy that's been inconsistent, and then all of a sudden
Tom Brady was on my bench with Cam Newton starting, so
I
couldn't really complain.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we'll just move right into it then, and we'll go ahead and start with our hots. I mean, this week, Arian Foster. Go back to Tate a little bit. Tate scores 109 yards, 2 touchdowns against the Pittsburgh D, and that's why I think Arian Foster will be hot this week. He's going against that Pittsburgh D that'll have 3 rushing touchdowns. I mean, 3 rushing touchdowns with Cleveland Browns. I mean, you gotta do better than that. So with Arian Foster, one of the elite backs in the league, I think you can expect him to put up some serious numbers this week. At the very minimum, I mean, Arian Foster is almost certainly in your lineup, but if you're debating about him and someone else for some reason, go with Arian Foster.
Making up for last year, too, because he was almost out the entire year. And I know because I had him.
Me too. Yep, that happened to me.
My high, keeping with the running backs, is Matt Forte from the Bears. He's really picked it up these last 2 games after starting off the season super slow. He actually leads the league in receptions, which isn't too. You don't see that too often from running backs. The Bears' offense is starting to click. Everyone's healthy. He's running the ball. He's catching the ball. So you really cannot go wrong with Forte.
And the Bears' defense, the Bears' offense is so has to pick and choose. Brandon Marshall's been down, so you really need Forte to basically do what Josh Ferguson does for the Illini. So
better.
What about you?
My hot would be Tate. I think that last 2 games, he's had over 20 to 25 carries every game, and coming up with Jacksonville this week, who is not proven to stop the run, I think he's going to definitely put up some numbers.
Yeah, Jacksonville hasn't proven to stop anything,
Nothing.
It seems like. But after that injury, coming back, he has been good, and, I hope you're right because I got him on my fantasy team. The better he is, the better I do. Yep. So, but as for knots, we'll go ahead and pick on one of our fellow staffers, Sam Sherman, here for a second, who took Toby Gerhart pretty early, and that has not paid off for anybody that took him. I think everyone was expecting him to kind of fill MJD's shoes, and he hasn't, because back to Jacksonville, not only can they not stop anything, but they can't really get anything either. I mean, he's scored no more than 7 points at all this year.
He's always injured.
Exactly, and he's dropping. The fact that he's owned in almost 86% of leagues is ridiculous. If he's in your lineup, find anything else to replace him.
Mm-hmm. Another guy, and this is going to be painful for me to say because I hopped on his bandwagon early. It's Percy Harvin. Seahawks wide receiver, almost like Seahawks everything. They use him for everything, but he's not doing anything. And it just kind of sucks as a fantasy owner, and as a fan of the Seahawks, because they're not utilizing him correct. It's all these gadget plays, and this is a guy who almost had 1,000 yards receiving with the Vikings. I mean, take a moment, like the Vikings. And the Seahawks with Russell Wilson, and the guy only has like 20-some odd points in the entire season. It's just mind-blowing how they're using him.
Oh, yeah.
I think my not this week would be Zach Stacy. He's owned in over 96% of leagues, and I watched him play Monday night against San Francisco, and he's been on my team the whole year, and I keep having faith in him, but it's finally just running out. They split it between 3 backs, Benny Cunningham and the rookie Trey Mason from Auburn. And Trey Mason looked really strong, and Cunningham took over goal line work when Zach Stacy just wasn't doing anything. So just don't think it's going to get any better for him.
And Zach Stacy, not only is he having to split the reps, but, their pass game's looking a lot better than I think people thought they would. They thought Zach Stacy was going up, and Davis is doing really well. I think he's had 3 touchdown passes in the last 2 games or something like that. But he's definitely doing better. So their pass game's not as wounded as people thought it would be. But off the waivers, James Jones. I'm liking James Jones, not as an immediate impact player, but someone you might want to take because he's had touchdowns in 3 of 5 games. He's already passed the bye week, which is going to be a big problem for people in the upcoming weeks as players start going in and out. And Oakland's always playing from behind, it seems like. So when you got James Jones like that, he's one of those receivers that can turn it around in those situations. Now, I'm not saying that Oakland's going to come back from behind, but they're certainly going to try. And when they try, then the receivers are going to get the yardage.
And keeping with Oakland, my pickup would be Andre Holmes. This starting, the other guy from Oakland. He had over 100 yards and 2 TDs his last game. Before that, he had another TD, almost 75 yards. So he's been picking it up, and like you said, I mean, Oakland's always behind. Derek Carr is surprisingly playing pretty well for a rookie too. So I mean, they should both benefit.
Yeah, Carr is playing well, and I mean, at the very least, pick them both up, and you guys can decide which one of us is right.
I mean,
right?
I got all 3 Minnesota running backs.
Right. You gotta kind of something's got to click eventually.
Yeah. My waiver wire pickup would probably be, I mean, I'm a big Giants fan, so I have to go with Odell Beckham with Victor Cruz going out this week.
That's a good one.
It was really hard for me to see, and probably harder for me to see the Giants play as poorly as they did, but I feel like they'll be able to figure things out this week, and they're going to start using Odell Beckham like they used Victor Cruz when he was a rookie in the slot, so I think we're really going to see something from him.
Not really keeping with the theme of struggles that the Giants have kind of been dealing with, but Cincinnati and the Colts, they're both looking like great teams. And that kind of takes us into our game to watch this week as they go head-to-head. I mean, Cincinnati fought to a first tie, and the Colts have been pretty consistently hot. I mean, Andrew Luck has proved to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and he's young still, too. And then Andy Dalton's also faring pretty well, too. So I think to see these two teams go head-to-head, first, there's fantasy implications involved, as usual. And it'll just be a solid game to watch, I think.
Yeah, I mean, there's a good chance one of them is going to be the 1 seed, the other's going to be the 2 seed. Cincinnati's in this phase of their team where they've gone to consecutive playoff appearances for a couple of years now. That hasn't happened in the past. I mean, they have a solid core of guys. In Indy, they've rebuilt. They had that one bad year, but now look at them. I mean, they're just dominating.
Yeah. Well, and then you always got to be careful with T.Y. Hilton. T.Y. Hilton is a good receiver. Make no mistake, he is a great receiver for the Colts.
And Reggie Wayne has come back strong from his ACL injury, so they both complement each other.
But the receiving dynamic of them in fantasy is something to be very cautious with. I had T.Y. a little bit last year, and if you look at it, I think really, with the exception of 3 games, he did not have a good season. Those 3 games when he's hot, he's good, but you're rolling the dice with it, and it's a little risky.
Yeah. I think that this game's going to be a really fun game just because of how many points are going to be scored. The Bengals have given up so many points the past couple weeks, but they still end up winning a lot of them. And I think Andrew Luck's been on fire, putting up over 300 yards in almost every game, and I think it's just going to be a pretty cool dynamic of how the teams fight against each other.
And again, the points. So stay away from the defenses.
Yeah.
Because if the points are going up, you do not want to touch the defenses. And the Bengals defense is one that I have to be careful with because Andrew Luck will fight back. And I would not expect either side to blow out the other. So I think that for this week, that's probably a pretty solid game to watch as far as both sides fighting to win.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah. So with that matchup, I think that concludes this week. Be sure to follow us on Twitter and tweet any questions you may have about fantasy football or football in general. And be sure to tune in next week. Thanks for joining us.